So the reason why you feel like you're an imposter is so simple. Because you are one. Hey, my friends, I'm Adrian Kaler. I'm a leadership coach for fast-moving founders, entrepreneurs, and gutsy corporate execs, and welcome to Naked Leadership. So there's a big difference between feeling like an imposter and actually being a fraud. Let's talk about it. If you're an ambitious person, you do this all the time. You create a space between where you are today and where you want to be next month, next year, 5 years from now. There's a space there because of your interests, because of how committed you are. We call that space the gap. When I called you an imposter in the intro, you might have recoiled a little bit, like I don't know you and you're trying really hard. That's great. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm saying that if I am in this moment declaring something new is going to happen, declaring something that beyond my past, something I've not learned before, something I've not done before, something that my story of myself that says it's impossible, but I just in this moment choose. I say that's possible for me, for my organization, all that. All of a sudden, I'm setting up this dynamic that there's a future Adrian coming that I can't prove is so. My commitment says it's so, and so it is. You know why? Because I fucking said so. So therefore, if that's true, if you're willing to stand like that, like the future is because I say so, I am an imposter right now. I can't prove why it is. All you've got is me and my word and my commitment. So there's a whole world of emotions that come out of living out of a declaration. Part of it's excitement. Part of it's also fear. Part of it's insecurity. You might end up being defensive. You might end up being very eager, like you can't wait to get after the thing. So the moment that you're in right now is full of all these emotions that you're creating for yourself. Now we call that swirl of emotions imposter syndrome. And I'm just saying, yes, I'm being an imposter on purpose. There's a future that I want that I can't prove is so right now. So as in all things, we want to move forward with understanding and intention as we navigate this thing that we're calling the gap. So the first thing is that if you generate a gap, and if you're a fraud, you're going to work to cover up that gap. You want other people not to see it. And why is that? Because you don't want to see it. So you got to cover up all those feelings and emotion. You end up putting on a front in order to cover up what's already naturally there. You're pretending that you're there already. You're pretending that it's not going to take a lot more out of you. You're pretending that it's not going to be a struggle or that you don't have anything to learn in order to bridge the gap from where you are today to where you're going in the future. That's what a fraud does. If you're living as an imposter, then you actually understand that there's a gap. You've created it. You want it to be so. And you're not avoiding all the insecurities, the challenges, the defensiveness, all the things that are naturally going to come out of it, the places you're going to might look like a fool, like you don't know what you're talking about yet. If you're an imposter, when you can own that, if you own that, those things aren't scary to you. They are indicators that you're actually striving in the right direction. The next thing to understand about the gap is that there's going to be a lot of learning and a lot of striving and a lot of suffering in order to get to where you need to be. What you want is what's in the gap is skill-based and knowledge-based. What you don't want is to have character-based issues in the gap. I see it all the time, where somebody's striving to build a company, build a team, develop themselves, get a whole new world for themselves, but they haven't done the work on themselves so they can actually sustain success. What I mean by character issues is, how willing am I to tell the truth? How humble am I? How willing am I to ask for help, or do I just live out of pride? Where am I willing to do shortcuts? Where am I willing to blame other people? Where am I willing to not take full responsibility? These are character issues, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every single person goes through this tension. It's a natural baked-in tension when you're pushing yourself beyond what you're comfortable with. If you're unwilling to become comfortable with the uncomfortability of straining for the future, you're going to revert to the worst version of yourself. So the next thing to understand about the gap, because you know that you're going to need to learn new things, you're going to need to try on new skills, you're going to need to have tougher conversations. You're going to need to stretch yourself beyond what you're used to. First off, you need to normalize the difficulty of that and be willing and able to talk about it on a regular basis. Why might you want to do that? If you as a leader are normalizing your own developmental process, it invites other people to own their own developmental process. You become a model of successful striving. So the last thing to understand about the gap is that this could be for you your next lifestyle, is that no matter what level of success you've hit, you're always going to be looking for the next mountain to climb. That's actually is the type of lifestyle you want for yourself. There's like meaning and purpose in that for you. And it's actually helps you be the leader you want to be for other people. You're naturally invitational. If people want to grow, they get close to you because the quality of the conversation you are invites them in to have a deeper conversation for themselves. So normalize the gap. I want a gap. I feel uncomfortable and it's purposeful. I'm uncomfortable for the sake of the future that I want. This is what great leaders do. So keep challenging yourself. So my hope for you is that you have a gap for the rest of your life. So let's talk about this in a very practical way. Chances are you're striving for something new, and you might be feeling the strain of it and overwhelm of it because you've got so much coming in and you want to be there already. My invitation to you is to take a look at all those things that might need to happen and just pick the first one. What's the most effective next step I can take? It's kind of like, remember that scene from Indiana Jones when he's like about to cross this invisible bridge? What does he do first? He takes some dirt and he tosses it out there and it illuminates what was invisible, made it visible. And then when he took a step, it didn't take as much faith because he did this small thing first, and now we can take this step confidently forward. I want you to do that in your own life. Take something big, chunk it down into something small, talk about it openly to other people, and they'll celebrate you and they'll help you do it. Most of the issues in your life, the risks that you need to take, the leaps that you need to take, most of the solutions there and the support for you to do that is one conversation away. So thanks for watching, you imposter. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and like it and do all that stuff. And remember, your people are counting on you.